Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Zheng Kong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Dubten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice tonight. From the Pure Land at the copper-colored mountain, Guru Padmasambhava. Sumo, Tanten Katso Duten Siddhi. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, temple directors, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? These are greetings in different languages.
Hola amigo. Que quiero mucho. Sukoin. Ichiba. Chimoji. Chumi. Yapi. Pirin pirin. Konbanwa. 我们今天是修这个莲华生大师的法。
Today we practice Guru Padmasambhava Dharma.
藏密的
And Guru Padmasambhava
最早的一个祖师。
It's the earliest forefather of Tibetan Tantric Buddhism.
这个达赖哥肖海。
He was born from a huge lotus blossom at the Danakosha lake. Therefore, he was lotus born or lotus youth or lotus child or Padma Kumara. And I have also said that Guru Padmasambhava, when Guru Padmasambhava entered into Tibet, he encountered many calamities, but he was able to counter them all. And the king at that time, in the King Trizong Dechen's reign, there were many of his ministers who had opposition toward Guru Padmasambhava. And then later on, Guru Padmasambhava, the King Trizong Dechen, and Santarakshita at the Yarlung River built a Samyet monastery or Samyet temple on the bank of the Yarlung River. So we can say that the Samyet temple was the first temple built there. And it was, the structure was like the Mount Meru at the center, surrounded by 4 major continents and 8 subcontinents, and the perfume ocean.
双雅寺，我们这里很多同门都去过双雅寺。
And many people have visited the Samye Temple. If you have, please raise your hand.
好几个人去过。
Quite a few of you.
那是莲花生大士跟占卜赤松德
So Samye Temple was built by Guru Padmasambhava, King Chuzong Tze, and Shantarakshita.
三个人所建立起来。那目前呢，莲花生大士为红、黄、白花
Guru Padmasambhava is highly revered by all 4 sects of Tibetan Buddhism, the Nyingmapa, Sakyapa, Kagyupa, and Gelugpa. And his Buddha mothers also had great attainments like Ishichoga, Mandarawa, Sakyadewa, Kalasidi, and Tashi children. They all had attainments. Like Ishichoga was also established or founded a sect. So she was also a patriarch. And then she also became a Siddha, one with attainment. And Sakyadewa was from Nepal, Mandarawa, India, and Kalasidi was at Bhutan. So they all had attainments at the end. These 5 Buddha mothers, or 5 of his consorts, main consorts. And then, in addition, there were also over 20 Buddha mothers that also had attainments. The birthplace of Guru Padmasambhava as recorded in the Zhujiansi, I think the historian record was in a place in the nowadays Afghanistan. So in the past, Afghanistan was a very prosperous and safe country, a very peaceful and prosperous and happy country. And they built huge Buddhist statues there. And then later on, these statues have been taken down. So we are talking about the copper-colored mountain, Pure Land. So where is it exactly? Many people ask. Actually, that was his original place. But it's not Pure Land belonging to the human world. Unlike the 4 major Buddhist mountains in China, which were also considered Pure Lands. The Pure Land of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is at the Buddhaloka, Mount Bhuto, and the Pure Land of Samantabhadra Bodhisattva is Mount Ermei in Sichuan province, and the Pure Land of Manjushri Bodhisattva is at the Mount Utai in Shanxi province. And it's also referred to as the Clear Cool Mountain. It is very famous. It's well known in the sutras. And for Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva is the Mount Jiuhua in Anhui province. So these are the 4 major Pure Lands that belong to the human world. But Shambhala is a very mystical Pure Land. According to the record, it's like a lotus blossom, but it's concealed. Pure Land in the human world. It is like a lotus blossom. And those who reside there are all spiritual cultivators and people who are able to go there. And there are also many kings presiding there. The first king was Manjushri Bodhisattva. And the second king was the White Lotus King, as we all know. These are all recorded in history. And there are also many other Pure Lands. They are they are not in Saha world. They are not on the ground, but they are in the sky, and there are many more there. Like Sukhavati, the western realm of Atmos bliss, that's in the sky. Abhirati, Abhirati is in the north. The Abhirati in the north. In the east. Yeah. Abhirati Pure Land in the east. And also the Lapis Lazuli light Pure Land of Medicine Buddha, that's also in the east. Those two are two different Pure Lands. And also the Pure Land of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Yuan Pure Land, and of Grintara is Yuye Pure Land, and Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva's Cui Pure Land. Many Pure Lands, and they're all in the sky. And the Cui Pure Land of Siddhigarbha is in the south. Of course, we wish that when you cannot attain Buddhahood on your own, and you cannot become great Bodhisattva, the most important part is in our spiritual cultivation is to go to the Pure Land. And we can say it is like a stopover, like a transit point. Once you go to the Pure Land, you need to continue to cultivate spiritually. But all your neighbors are great Bodhisattvas. And by following the great Bodhisattvas to cultivate spiritually, eventually you can also become a great Bodhisattva. Then your fruition will become higher. Like the fruition in Sukhavati, the first one is the Pure Land of eternal serene light. The second is the Pure Land of the Sambhogakaya Buddha, which is the magnificent Pure Land for real rewards, and the abundant Pure Land for convenience, and then also the Pure Land where the mundane beings resides with the sages together. So you go there and then you cultivate spiritually until you have attainment, then you can go to the higher level Pure Lands. So the Vimalakirti Buddhas live in the lowest level of Pure Land. So the Pure Land of Guru Padmasambhava is also very high. So today we practice Guru Padmasambhava's Dharma, and this is what you should know. And then the realm of gods is quite different. One time a disciple asked me, there are the heavenly dragons, the ocean dragons, and the earthly dragon. During the Q&A, and I answered them. The earthly dragon perhaps is related to feng shui or geomancy. Because when you check the geomancy, there's a dragon inside the mountains. So where the earth energy moves, it's the same as a dragon. Most dragons are in water. And in ancient time, in wells, there are also well dragons. And in big rivers, there are also river dragons, stream dragons, and many dragons, many kinds of dragons. And we know about the heavenly dragons. We know about water dragons, those in the oceans, the dragons of the 4 oceans or the 8 great ocean dragons. So my answer then, I explained the earthly dragon as those in geomancy or feng shui. But actually that was a wrong answer. So what is the earthly dragon? In the 8 kinds of dragon beings and devas, the earthly dragons are the huge pythons, snakes. It's stated in the Vimalakirti Sutra. The spirit of the huge pythons or boa. So I needed to correct my earlier mistake. Because in the Buddha Sutra, the earthly dragon refers to the god coming from a python or huge snake. So with the human head, but the body of a snake. That is the earthly dragon. Let me first share a joke. Xiaoming told his mom, "Mom, did you see my badminton racket?" And Mom said, "Why?" "Tomorrow I have a badminton class. I need it." And Mom said, "Okay, I'll place the racket in your bag later." And then the next day, during the gymnastic class, I found out that the racket was actually a mosquito bat. You know, like a bat to kill mosquitoes. That's a joke. When you are arguing with your wife, you should tell the wife, "I have been enduring you for many years. And she would definitely reply, and so what? And the husband would say, and I want to endure it for another few decades, then you'll make up. I heard that the ex-Prime Minister Abe from Japan. Who told this joke? You did? No, it's from the news. Abe, who was assassinated. He said, the way for a couple to be in harmony is to surrender to your wife. See, even the Prime Minister had to surrender to his wife, let alone the rest of us.
There's
this common saying that a daughter is dad's past lover. So a couple had 6 daughters, and the husband, being empathetic of the wife, said, okay, that's enough, let's not have more children. Whether it's a boy or a girl, it's all the same. And the wife was very adamant and said, I want to give more birth, and I want to know how many lovers you had in your past lives. This is a joke. A student wrote a composition with the title, My Idealism. That my dream or my ideal dream is to have an obedient mom, that she would be very gentle to call the wake up and will not turn my blanket, will not yell at me when I write my homework, and when I argue with her, she is never angry and she always agreeable to whatever I want or say. And she never scolds the old Zhang, who's my dad, who said that he wished that my dream comes true soon. And the teacher wrote that keeps on dreaming. In your dream, it's impossible to happen. Two classmates, ex-classmates met. One said, so how are you lately? How about your work and family? And the other one said, no problem. Just having several, we have changed several mother-in-laws. And the other said, wow, you're God. Wow, I admire you. And then he replied, No, it's not me. It's my father-in-law. It's incredible.
想清楚了。好，我们进入你问我答。
Now we'll do the question and answer. Question from Lianhua Pei from Singapore. Homage to beloved Grandmaster.
4月18日，有一只爱情鸟突然扒住我家师兄的脚不放。
On the 18th, there was a lovebird who got attached. A baby bird attached to my husband's leg, attached to my husband's leg. And then so he brought the little bird to work. And then his boss asked him to take the bird to the vet. And the doctor said that the bird has low blood sugar and the heartbeat was very slow. And when the heartbeat returned to normal, it was very late. So my husband brought the bird back home. And I chanted the Guru Mantra, Hiking Sutra, Dharani 21 times, and the deliverance mantra to dedicate to the bird so that the karma is eradicated and to be reborn in the Pure Land or better realm and not to be reincarnated again. But who knew that the next morning he brought it to the boss's house, and then it doesn't drink or it did not drink or eat, and he looked tired and slept and then died. Before I took refuge, the night before my husband's grandma passed away, I also chanted deliverance mantra, and she passed away the next day. So the question is, one, does it mean I should not chant deliverance mantra when they're still alive? Two, why after I chant the mantra they pass away or died? And three, is it right for me? Was it right for me to chant deliverance mantra and sutra and dedicate the merit to the little bird? Or should I chant other mantras and sutras? So this question is about she chanted deliverance mantra and the bird died, and she chanted and the grandma died. Is it okay to chant deliverance mantra while they are still alive? So I like to ask all of you, how should we answer? Anybody has an opinion? Nobody? Then I have only I that have to answer then. I think you can chant any mantra. If they're supposed to die, they will die. And those who are not supposed to die will also die, because nobody lives forever. So to help them chant deliverance mantra When they are alive, they will stay alive if they are not supposed to die. Therefore, everybody should chant the deliverance mantra to make a saving to be reborn in the Pure Land. So you chanted the deliverance mantra and the bird died. And you chanted the night before the grandma died. And then the next day, she indeed died. So that's a good thing. So that meant that your deliverance mantra must be effective. So chanting the deliverance mantra and dedicating the merit is correct. I personally like to chant the deliverance mantra, and I chant it every day. But it's not the case that people will die as soon as you chant. Some people get better because it's not time for them. But if it's time for them to die, and by coincidence you chant, of course they would go. If it's not time, doesn't matter how much or how you chant, they will not go either. It doesn't mean. So if you chant deliverance mantra for a baby and the baby is healthy, it doesn't mean that the baby will die. Therefore, I would say those who are supposed to die will die, and those who are not supposed to die will also eventually die. I've told this joke that human life is like making a phone call. If you don't hang up first, I hang up first. Everybody will hang up at the end, sooner or later. It's a good thing to chant deliverance mantra. You can go to the Pure Land, to the Buddha verses. No need to be afraid of dying or of death. Of course, the older you get, you'd suffer from illnesses. When you're old, of course, you will have sickness. That's normal. The young people will not be able to empathize how old people are. Old people just don't have the energy, although they have the desire. They'll have pain here and there, or problems with certain organs, if not their eyesights or teeth. Many of our reference or fasts go to the dentist. If not this, is that. Not strange, but most of our masters and reference are quite aged, quite older. So these things go bad as you grow old, and the older you get, the worse it gets. So it's a good thing to chant the deliverance mantra. That's the answer to Lian Hua Pei from Singapore.
Now, 老婆问老公：“我问你一个问题，如果你中了大乐透，中了3亿元，3亿哦。”
The wife asked the husband, if you won the first prize in lottery, like 300 million, and then just by coincidence, I'm being kidnapped and asked for a ransom of $300 million, what would you do?
歹徒要求赎金3亿元，问老公
So the wife asked this question to the husband, and the husband replied,
不可能的啊
"That's impossible.
我何德何能，哪有这样子双
How
喜
can
临门的
I be
事
so lucky that two good things happen at the same time?"
啊，双喜临门呐、真的，又得了3亿，
Two good
老
things
婆又被
happening
人
at the
家
same
绑
time.
架了，
Got 300 millions, and the wife was kidnapped.
赶都赶不走，这下被绑架了，正好。
You know, you cannot kick her out, doesn't matter what. So the fact that she's kidnapped, that's a good thing.
这也是一个笑话，蛮好笑的。
This is also a joke.
老婆打电话给老公，喂，老
The
公你在
wife
哪里？老公
called the
回答我
husband.
在公司啊。
Where are you?
老婆
I'm at work.
讲，告诉你一件事，你别生气。
Let me tell you,
老公
but
讲，
don't be angry, okay?
老婆你讲没事的。
And the husband said, "Don't
老
worry.
婆讲，
What is it?
我们
Tell
家
me."
的车撞
And the
到，
wife said, "Our
就
car
是他开车了。
got
一撞
hit."
老公问什么？
What?
车被撞，谁的责任？
So whose fault was it?
我觉得
And
好
the
像
wife
是我
said,
的责任。
"I think it's
老公
mine."
问，
And the
那
husband
对
asked,
方有一点责，
How
连
about
一
the
点
other
责任都没
party?
有吗？
They had no fault at all. And the wife replied, "The other party is the wall."
对方是墙。开车去撞墙。
So, driving the car to
现
the
在
wall.
讲维摩诘经，
Now I will expound on
有
the
无
Vimalakirti
两
Sutra.
边，无复疑习。啊，这句话
There were no more traces of habitual tendencies
啊，
toward
这句话
both
是讲这句
extreme
了
of existentialism and nihilism.
维摩诘经有无
Vimalakirti
两
Sutra.
边，无复疑习。
There were no more traces of habitual tendencies toward both extremes of existentialism and nihilism.
有吗？
Is
有
it on?
无两边，无复疑习。这个是讲哈，大菩萨
So this talks
他
about
非常有这个
the
正
great
念，非常
bodhisattvas
有正念。
who have right
大菩萨
thought.
也已经是集合了真
The
如。
great bodhisattvas have complied with
大
the
菩萨的修行
ultimate
有
truth
正念，
or
而
true
且
suchness.
集
So
合
they
了
have the
真如
right thought
对真理完
and
全都了解。
comply with the ultimate truth. They completely
所以
comprehend
其
the
实有
ultimate
两边，
truth.
佛
So
法里面常
actually,
常提到的，
in Buddha Dharma,
这个说一切有部
there are two
跟
sides.
说一切无部，说一
One
切空部，
is the
这是两
school
边呢。
that talks about
一边是讲
existence, and the other one talks about
我们
emptiness.
现实的世界
One
看
talks
起来
about
房子就是房
existence.
子啊，有啊，
This is our real
看
world.
起来我们
A
人
house is like a
就
house.
是有个人呢，
A human being is a
是有
human
啊。
being. That
有
they
我有
exist.
你有他，有男啊，有你啊，
There's
都是
I,
有啊。
you, he,
这是属于
she, a
有。
woman, man.
这个无
This
那
is
一边是怎么
considered
讲？
existence. And for
原生无状，
nothingness is that a
一切
human
生命
life is illusory.
哦，
All
不管你
lives,
是有形的、无形的，
whether you're tangible or
都是
intangible, have
空幻。
forms or no forms,
都是空的跟幻的，
they're illusory and empty.
不能够长久。
Like the
我常常讲
house,
一合
it's
相，
not permanent. I often
人是
talk
一合
about the
相，
aggregate. A human being is an aggregate who's comprised of the earth, water, fire, and wind. And the whole Saha world is also comprised of the 4 elements. It's just a momentary phenomenon. Because from birth to death, for a human being is typically 100 years. So, where is the past you? Where are the past you? Where are the future you? They're both empty. The same with the house. A newly built house is called a new house. 100 years later, it's called an old house. And then afterwards, it's demolished. See, there are many disappearing cities. Like in India, we went to Rajagriha. The cities where Sakyamuni Buddha was, it's just ruins. It's just, and we went to Nalanda University. That was very famous in the past, a Buddhist university in India. We visited that place, and all that's left just a few bricks. It looked like and just a few bricks with wild weeds and grasses around. So the Nalanda University is gone. And the same thing, Rajagriha too, it's just like a ruin. And the country where the Buddha was born, Saravasti, it was just nothing left, just deserted. So even cities can disappear, let alone the houses. So that means they're all empty. So some people opine that it's empty, some exist. Some believes in existence. But the great Bodhisattvas know, according to the Vajra Sutra, that the real phenomena is empty phenomena, and the empty phenomena is the real phenomena. And in the Heart Sutra, it's stated even clearer that form is emptiness and emptiness is form. When we chant the Heart Sutra, we would say, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. And some people regard it, and because they love sex or lust, so that's why say that lust is empty. No, but form means anything tangible. So anything is existing is the same as empty. And emptiness is also the same as all those existences. And that's what it means by forms, emptiness. Emptiness is form. Form is none other than emptiness. Emptiness is none other than forms. It's stated very clearly in the Heart Sutra. So there's no difference between form and emptiness. Form is no different from emptiness. So they are not different. Therefore, form and emptiness are one. And the great Bodhisattvas know this. That's what it means here. So not toward existentialism nor nihilism or nihilism, but it's they side with one. which is like the Heart Sutra. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is none other than emptiness, emptiness is none other than existence. No more traces of habitual tendencies. What does it mean? Can you explain this?
你如果看维摩诘经的注解，它就会注解出来。
If you have read the commentary on the Vimalakirti Sutra, it would have been explained. Have you read it?
没有人举手，那又是我讲了。
Nobody raised their hand, so I would have to explain.
也就是说，大菩萨已经完全
the great bodhisattvas
人的习性
have no more habitual tendencies of human beings. So they have no more human habitual tendencies. None. Gone. They have no more human habitual tendencies. That's called the immovable ground. No more habitual tendencies. Most human beings have habitual tendencies, so we call it human nature. But the great bodhisattvas don't have human natures anymore. And what are they? They are very nitpicking and particular and jealousy. That's human nature. Envy. My best friend is in good terms with somebody else, then I'm jealous. Envy. Bill Gates is so rich. Why doesn't he give us money? Seattle Lechang Temple. We are neighbors. We are here, and he's there, just up there. He's our neighbor, good neighbors. Give us some money, then everything will be fine. So he has a discrimination because he doesn't give to religious groups. His foundation states that it doesn't support religious groups. But I visited his office, and there were a tantric tanka in the office buildings. There are many tantric tankas, and we are also tantric Buddhism for sex. And if you like tantric Buddhism so much, why don't you give us some donation? So Bill Gates has discrimination. So if you really do social work, you should not discriminate. So you just give whoever you want. Wouldn't that be nice? So you cannot have discrimination. And discrimination is a habitual tendency. So, but he's very rich, and many people envy him. I remember it was in the news that he went to some faraway state, and at night he went to a nightclub, and then seated there, nobody recognized that he was Bill Gates except one. And then he took a cake, like for the happy birthday, a white with white cream, huge, and then he walked to Bill Gates and slapped the cake to him. It was cake all over his hair and everywhere. And he said, I hate rich people. So what does this mean? That's envy. So rich man is also man, poor man is also man. So the middle class people also people. They're all human beings, but the great bodhisattvas will not be like that. How come the great bodhisattvas have no more habitual tendencies at all? None of those human nature or human tendencies. What are you so nitpick or particular about? You're rich, but you're so stingy. And you never give out even a cent. So what is all this money for? You know, the great bodhisattvas know you cannot bring it with you when you die. So it's empty. It's just papers or minerals, things from the earth. So it's either papers or minerals. So the great bodhisattvas will not be like that. They will not be stingy or miserly. Will not be jealous. Why? Because they are great bodhisattvas. And they know there is no use in being jealous. The great bodhisattvas understand emptiness, that eventually everything will be gone. Jealousy comes from emptiness too. There's no use to jealousy. There's no use. Envy is also no use. Sometimes when people see someone beautiful, they treat them differently than the way they treat ugly people. But it's not the case for Grandmaster. A girl that asked for marriage, and I give her a talisman, and she's really beautiful. But how come she still cannot get married even when she's beautiful? Because she thinks too much and she's very picky. And she still cannot get married, although many people chase after her. And she finds every man as a womanizer and not necessarily beneficial in marriage. So she's asking for marriage. And then also some very ugly woman, very ugly, and protruding teeth and the eyes and flat nose and hair like grass, and she also asked for marriage. And all the same, I would give her the same marriage talisman, although I would not say, hey, I don't think there's anyone that wants you in marriage. So great bodhisattva treats everyone equally. So we're the same. Grandmaster and Simu will not be so stingy. We will help whoever needs help. We will do whatever we have to do. And Simu is even more generous than I am. And because it's such a hard work for me to earn money, so I need to be more conscientious. It's really hard work. It's not easy. Even all those offerings does not come easily. So I work hard for it. So I am more frugal. But she would give Taiwan Lechang Temple, Ranteng, Tripura News, and other organizations, or the newly established chapters and centers. And she gives quite a lot. Like the Diamond Temple in New York City, when they just built the temple, but later on they returned it all. And helped the foundation, although Simu didn't want to. We helped the Vajra Diamond Temple in New York City. At that time, it was purchased around $3 million. I'm not sure, but something like that. And Simu asked her, how much money do you have now? 1 million. So Simu loaned her 1 million and give her 1 million. And that's a total of 2 millions. And after so many years, they gradually return the money and give to the foundation. And Simu said no need, but she still returned them. So we're still helping. We also gave the Puti Lechang Temple. Grandmaster bought that temple for the Puti Lechang Temple in Vancouver. And then when they had money, they also paid back, but without interest. And the same for the Lotus Light Lechang Temple. Grandmaster used his money to build the temple, the Tripura building. Master Saotong hired the developers to build it. And when she came, she said, Master-Ling Shen, well, let us buy it from you. I said, sure. How about if you lower the price to 200,000? That's what she asked. And of course we say, sure. So we lost 200,000 that way. That's small numbers. And other places too. And also the Wei Guang Temple, who wanted to buy a land, a piece of land, didn't have money. And Grandmaster said, I loaned you 400,000. And give him 400,000 in one shot. Loan, not give. It's Grandmaster's 400,000. And he eventually built it. And he did pay back 10,000, 20,000, little by little, and paid back everything without interest. Many of them. If they said that they needed money, but they're still developing, and it depends, their master and Sumu always do this. There's no use to be jealous or envious. Human beings have lots of all kinds of habitual tendencies, many kinds of habitual tendencies. But the great bodhisattvas are pure, have pure mind. They're very pure. And they have equality and equanimity. And they treat sentient beings equally. They forsake more or less. I asked Simu, and Simu really give this much there, this much there. So from Taiwan Lijiang Temple, Master-Lu-Ling Shen Ching, did Simu give you money? $2 million US. I didn't know that she's so generous. How about you, Master Lian Zai? In charge of Ranteng? 100,000. Anybody else from Taiwan?
Oh, 文献处，他也拨款是吧 ？OK， 都有的。
Yeah, also to us.
所以这个习性呢，这个习性
to Buddha Foundation.
我们是这样子，我们是看他们有发展性。
So
而且他们本身
we just observe if they have a potential
不会贪财的单位
and promising, and they're not
他都是在注意的，不贪财的单位
greedy for money,
做在把这个钱花在公益
and
上
they spend the
面，花在
money
建筑上面，
for
花在
the
宣传上面，
commonwealth
另外有
of
些
the
那个
public
小的堂
or
刚刚起来的，
propagation.
其实也我们也在看，能够发展的都会给的。
And we also observing the new or small chapters. If they have good potential, we will also give them. Because everyone is equal. However, we still have to discern if they have promising potentials. Otherwise, if money is just being spent without any result, so we still have to calculate, to
人是有习性的，还有很多习性数不清的。
decide. So there are countless habitual tendencies of a human being.
一切都是空的。
And we need to use Buddha Dharma to remedy it, because eventually everything will become empty. The great bodhisattvas know that there is nothing to gain in the Saha world, and there is nothing to give up either, to forsake. If you know these 2 points, then you would treat everyone equally, and you would eliminate all habitual tendencies. I just ask this question: what can you gain in the Saha world? Nothing. What is it that you can really gain? Like stated in the Heart Sutra, because there's nothing to gain, this bodhisattva. But actually, there's nothing to forsake either. You forsake something that's also empty. Is there anything to give? And those who receive it is also empty. It's just yours temporarily, everything is
房子也
momentary.
是暂时，车子也是
The
暂时，
houses, the
这个
cars,
金银财宝全是暂时，钱
all
也
the
是
wealth,
暂时。
assets,
你
money,
得到什么？
all
没有，
momentary.
无所得，
What is
也
it that
无
you
所得。
really own or
虽然你
gain?
把房子给人
Nothing.
家了，车子给人家了，
Although you have
以前呢，
given your houses, your cars,
在加州有一个堂，说没有车子，
in the past there
我们
was a
师尊
chapter
的那
in
部车子
California
就给
that
他了。
needed a car, so Grandmaster gave his car to him.
就是这样子，他也没得到什么，就
But
现在
he
这个
didn't
堂也
get
没有，
anything. That chapter's gone too.
他就把这个车子从西雅图开回到加州。
So he drove the car from Seattle back to
那时候
California.
也没有钱呢，
At that time, I didn't have much money
我那
either.
部车子叫做 Mercury， 现在好像
And
没
my
有了。
car was called Mercury. I don't think
Mercury.
it exists anymore.
啊
Mercury.
我
Mercury.
那时候我刚买的第一部车子叫 Mercury，
That was the first
我就把
car
那
that
部
I
车子
had
就折给加州的一个堂，
after I
这个堂也没
came
有，
here.
我的车子也
I
没有，
gave it to that chapter, and the chapter is gone now, and the car is gone too.
那
So
车子
that
大概
was
也坏了。
there's nothing to give to,
那人生就是这个
and
样
the
子，
car is probably
无所
broken.
得也无所舍。
So human
那
life
你
is
还
like
有
this.
得做
There's nothing to gain, there's nothing to give. So
那
why do
你
you
嫉
keep
妒
it?
什么？
Why do
你
you
也是
keep
无
them?
所得无所舍啊，
What are you
那你
jealous
痴视
about?
什么？
What are you
也是
envious
无所得
about?
无所舍啊。
There's nothing to gain, there's nothing to
你
give.
稍微想一想看，你能够得到什么？
So think about it. What is it that you can
再想一
truly
想看，
gain?
你能够舍到什么？
Ponder on it.
你有舍些什么？
What is it that
我
you
也
have
没有舍些
given?
什么，师母也没有舍些什么，
None for me,
也
none
也
for
一样是
Sumo.
没有。
It's all the same, nothing.
一切有都是暂时的现象。
All existence is a
一切都是
temporary phenomena. In reality, everything is emptiness.
所以他能够
And the great bodhisattvas comprehend this concept or this principle.
无故于
Therefore,
所有的习性全部消磨掉。
he is capable of eliminating all habitual tendencies.
所以讲这个道理给你听，就是想说，
So,
也不要去争这个庙，
explaining this principle to
也不
you
用
so
去
that
争
there's no need to
西
fight
雅
for
图雷藏寺，也
temple,
不用去争彩虹雷藏，彩虹雷
no
藏寺
need to fight for the
是师尊盖起
Seattle
来
Litang
的，
Temple or
是
the
师母
Rainbow
跟
Temple.
师尊的钱，
The Rainbow Temple was
师母的
built
钱，
using
那
grandmasters and
请这个
Simu's
莲氏
money,
上师去请工人，
and asked Master-Lu-Ling
莲氏上师
Shen
去
to
请工人，
hire
然后把
constructors,
彩虹山庄整个
construction company,
建立起来。
developers to build the Rainbow
像
Temple.
我们现在的住持，他也是
And the
以
current
前他是
abbot,
当建筑的，
he was in construction business, and he built the
把护摩宝
columbarium
殿也盖起来，把一
and the
切
Homa
那
Hall,
个周围的那个都建得很漂亮，做
and
得
we
很好。
built many things around.
师尊师母说舍就舍啊，
So Grandmaster and Simu
彩虹雷藏寺
give
也没有师尊的一个
just
名
like
字，
that.
也没有师母的一个
And
名字，
the Rainbow Temple
什么都
has
没有，
none.
就是舍掉啊。
And Grandmaster and
无所舍啊。
Simu's name are not in the
将来你不
Rainbow
舍也是舍啊。
Temples.
我们只有一句话，
So even if you
让生活
don't
中
give in the future,
一直
you
继续下
will
去。
also give. We only state one thing: we want to let True Buddha School continue in the future,
雷
into
藏
the
寺，
future.
你争这个雷藏寺，争个住持也没有用。
And there's no
住持
need
反
to
而比较
fight
辛
to
苦。
be the president of this temple.
对，你不做住持反而轻松，
It's
你做住持也很辛苦啊，做什么都辛
it's more
真的。
hard work to be the
苦。你做了
president.
你
If
就有
you're
责
not,
任
it's
啊，你要
easy.
担啊。还
So
有
once you
酒的出
become
色，
the president, you have more responsibility, and you need to be in charge of the 9 dormitories, and if something happens, it's all your responsibility. And not only of the president and the secretary, the manager, the assistant, the accountant. I think Bi-Zhen is really, really busy, and all the 9 dormitories and about money here and everywhere. And from the slit of the door, I check, like, what are you doing? I'm counting the money. That's a lot of work for her. And this is not greedy for the money. And all this money needs to be in the bookkeeping. It's not her own money. So she's losing weight and she's working so hard. And she's also in charge of the accounting of the TBF and of the Seattle Leizang Temple. So debits and credits, and she's like a money god, but with money coming and going. So what use is being an accountant? It's just a title, just a name. She has no bad habits. She doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke. She doesn't go to prostitution. She has no fun. It would have been easier to be just a regular master and just eating and walking around, sleeping. But then there's no benefit. You need to know to cultivate spiritually. This time we will know that actually in spiritual cultivation there's nothing to gain and there's nothing to give. What you gain is empty, and what you give is also empty. So this is the explanation that the great bodhisattvas understand this concept and they have no more habitual tendencies. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.